Welcome back to the channel, fellow renegades. It's Ave Dominus New back again with more 40k content, and this time I have a tier list for you, but not just any kind of not a combat tier list or something generic like that, which I'm probably still going to do, but I want to know which one of the Primarchs would make the best emperor. So buckle up your seat belts and prepare to figure out who is the true emperor. But before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got a bunch of ideas in my brain, and no, I'm not corrupted by Tzeentch, I promise you. These are all my ideas, and I'm not getting them from anywhere or from anyone. And no, you're crazy. I'm not crazy. Oh, also, Curze will flay you, so don't forget about that too. You'd probably rather not be flayed, I assume. So be prepared to stand in midnight clad. Okay, so I'm trying to go a little bit left field with it. I want to know who would make the best emperor of the 40k setting, and I'm talking about like Tyranids coming, Tau getting above their station, getting stronger every day. I'm talking like Abaddon and the massholes attacking. I'm talking about all the problems of the 40k, which Primarch would be able to handle it best. And I've got me a handy little metric system right here. We're basically going to judge them in 6 different categories. And these are things that made the Emperor mostly a good leader. These are the things that relate to being a good emperor, in my opinion. So we got politics, of course, your ability to navigate your own people and the bureaucracy of the Imperium. You got fighting ability, which any good leader needs in a setting like this. You got psychic potential, which is something that no one's going to match the Emperor on, but it's definitely something you need in order to control. You got to be able to steer the Astronomicon and stay in the lighthouse to make sure the ships come in. That's a big part of being the Emperor. Then also you need strategy. I'm talking like battlefield strategy. I'm talking about overarching crusade strategy about how you're going to take the galaxy or whatever. You need a strategic thinking mind. Then we're going to rate them on their plan to save humanity, because if you know anything about the Emperor, he had a plan, and if you don't have a plan, you are not going to do great in 40k. Ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. So any emperor worth his salt is going to need a certain amount of ruthlessness. And I didn't spell that well at all. Don't mind me. This was just like a rough draft, but I was just typing up. I might correct that. I'm just going to leave it misspelled. It's kind of orky. You can get 1 to 5 points in any of these categories, and I'll add them all together. And that's what's going to affect a Primarch's place on the tier list. If they don't get very many points, obviously chaos is going to take over, like what was threatening to happen at the end of Siege of Terra. And at the top end of the spectrum, you've kind of got you're sort of better than the Emperor. There's a noble bright future for the Imperium, and then there's everything in between. I don't think I need to explain so much. I'll explain mid-emperor. This is an Emperor who's not good and not bad, just kind of they're an emperor. With that intro out the way, let's get into it. So the first Primarch on the list is the Lion. This is Lionel Johnson. So we all know the Lion is crazy. When it comes to politics, he's not very good when it comes to politics. He's very secretive, clandestine, if you will, and it's not going to make the people around him comfortable. Not to mention, he's willing to... This is old school Lion, by the way, I'm talking about. So he will lie to you in order to get his way, to get his man. He's a sharp blade. He's more of a weapon than almost any of the other brothers. So politics, to be honest with you, I slick have to give him a 1, bro. His politics are bad, so that's a 1. His fighting ability is top tier. He's definitely one of the best fighters amongst the Primarchs. Top 3, top 4, top 3 at least. So he definitely a spank almost any of his brothers. I think the only person he can't stand against is probably Sangi, or possibly Vulkan, but that's a conversation for another time. Now, psychic potential. His psychic potential is actually there. We didn't see it in 30k, but when he came back, he was able to forest walk and stuff like that. So his psychic potential is there, and it's a powerful thing. It's not enough to be able to steer the Astronomicon, but we can put it on above average, just a 4. Surprising, actually, but the new lore and retcons will do that for you. That's what a retcon would do for you. So if we're going to talk about strategy, his strategy is very freaking good. I don't know if I want to say it's a 4. It's really like a 5. But when it comes to like the best strategists, I almost reserve that spot for like kind of Guilliman and Dorn, but he might actually be able to hang with them strategically. I really don't know. I'm going to give him a 4. I'm not even giving him the benefit of the doubt. You can flame me for that. Let me know in the comments if he really deserves a 5 for strategy. Plan to save humanity? Nothing. He got nothing. Exterminate the Xenos. Not too bad of a plan. A 2. Below average. And then his ruthlessness? Oh, he ruthless, baby. Need I say more? He bombed the planet that Guilliman's mom was on and lied about it. Lion would actually be a legit successor. While his politics and his planning to save humanity is doo-doo, his ability to actually keep them safe and have a strategic mind is pretty damn good. Legit successor, that's not bad. No noble right future, but you know, he'd do good in 40k, as we've seen in his book. He is piecing together the dark side of the Imperium damn near by himself and picking up the pieces of his fallen sons and stuff, but that's a subject for another time. So let's move on to Alpharius. So to be real with you, I don't know that much about Alpharius and Omegon. Like, I have not read the Primarch novel yet, but I did follow them a bunch in the Horus Heresy, though they're very enigmatic at the time, so I'm just going to use the knowledge that I have on hand. As for politics, a 5. Nobody can... They are so sneaky and so strategic. I'm judging both of them at the same time, by the way. I cannot tell the difference. They're going to have the same score and go in the same place. Fighting ability, killed by Dorn. I would say as a unit, let's say they both became Emperor together. Like, one of them's on the throne and the other one's in the shadows and stuff. Fighting ability is probably at a premium together. You get them by themselves, their fighting ability is probably like, I would put it at like a 1. I would put them below lorgar separately. But maybe at lorgar's level. But like, nah, they get a 4 together. Psychic potential. Well, their psychic ability is to just go unnoticed as far as I know. So that will help them not get assassinated as the Emperor and the other Emperor. Not to mention there's 2 of them running around. But the psychic potential is actually below average in my opinion. Maybe average. Maybe below average, yeah. Especially since they can't do anything with the Astronomicon. None of these people on the list, except for Magnus, is going to be able to do anything with that. So no one's really going to get a 5 except for him. Just know that now. Strategy, I would say a 4. I would put the strategy on 5, but they also had the bright idea. Alpharius had the bright idea to try to convince Dorn to change his style of battle, a one-on-one in person. And I don't know if that's going to get retconned or something like that, because we got Great Scouring coming. But for now, we got to take like 2 points off for that. I'm sorry, that was bad. But you would think on paper that his strategic strategy would be like the greatest. And in fact, I almost want to take a score down from politics just because of that same example. That was a political move, if you think about it, because he was trying to change him. But like at the same time, it's like, no. You lose points for that. Plan to save humanity. He sided with the Cabal and was going to let Horus win so that chaos could go extinct over time. That is a 1. Ruthlessness. Average. Actually pretty ruthless because of what he did to his brother Corvus in the Deliverance Lost book. So we might crank that up to a 4. I'd have gave him a 5 for ruthlessness had he not like died the Dorn or something. Like maybe he should have just found a way to kill him. Ooh, decent ruler. Alpharius and Omegon would be a decent ruler. I think that'd be really cool to see, like an Emperor on the throne and an Emperor in the shadows. Like they're both the Emperor. They're the twin Emperor. That would be badass, man. Someone write a fan fiction about it. Immediately, please. So this is Fulgrim, I think. I see the little phoenix on his shoulder. That's the only way I can tell because he looks crazy in this picture. Fulgrim's below average in politics. He's actually pretty cool. Like, I think that he's like charming, but at the same time, his head is so far stuck up his ass. I couldn't imagine anybody like. I'm gonna put him at below average. Fighting ability is actually pretty good. Probably one of the better Primarchs. Has some really embarrassing moments, especially as he starts to fall towards chaos. But you know, he's not bad. Actually, I'm gonna say average fighting ability for a Primarch. Really good. Maybe not the best. Maybe not even the top 9. Maybe number 9 if he's in the top 9. We'll talk about that later. Psychic potential. I ain't seen none. Besides falling to chaos, I ain't seen anything like psychic out of him. Strategy. A 2. He's made so many bad decisions, man. Like him wandering into the cave, and it's hard for me to see. I like Fulgrim. I know y'all think I might be downplaying him, but he's just kind of bad. And this is loyal Fulgrim too, by the way, that I'm talking about. So we're ranking him pretty low right now. I think he's definitely going to fall to chaos no matter what. Plan to save humanity? Nothing. He got nothing. Just be the new emperor and stuff. Be perfect. So I'll give him a 2. And then his ruthlessness? Oh yeah, baby. One of the most ruthless out of the Primarchs by a long shot. I'd put him up there almost with Curze. But he still get that 5 though. Ooh, he's a mid-peror. Phoenix is... the Palpatine Phoenix is a mid-peror. He'd be like a ruler. I don't know. I don't think humanity stands too much of a chance with Fulgrim at the helm. Loyal Fulgrim. So now we have the Lord of Ravens, Corvus Corax, who I thought was Mortarion for some reason until I seen Mortarion's rotten picture over there. Yep. Right here with the hood. So anyway, politics is pretty good. He's a freedom fighter, a liberator and stuff like that. Some of the more fascist, a lot of the more fascist elements of the 40k bureaucracy probably wouldn't like him, but I think a lot of people will love him. The soldiers, the space marines, I think the warrior class compared to like the egalitarian class. And so I would say he gets a 4 in politics. You might want to bring it lower, but I think it's fair. Fighting ability, 5. One of the premier fighters among the Primarchs, at least in his opinion. And Curze has admitted that him and his sons are better at stealth, so we're going to give him that big fat 5 for fighting ability. Psychic potential, I don't think that there's much there. I know he turns into a bird, raven thing or something after spending time in the warp, so we'll give him a 2. But it's nothing that's actually useful as the Emperor, I think, unless he's just being straight up attacked. Strategy, pretty good. He got failed by the Alpha Legion. Messed up in Isfahan, but they're stealth strategists, so I want to put them at above average. Probably not the best, but really good. Also, he got played by Horus, so his potential to be played, despite being the stealth guy, like they're no Alpha Legion brethren. They're just stealthy. They're like ninjas, but they're not like CIA. So it is kind of is what it is. I'm gonna say average. I'm sorry. Plan to save humanity? I don't think he's got much going for him. He's just going to be trying to liberate people and give them freedom, which is not bad. I would say that's average. That's better than what a lot of people probably have nothing. But I would say 3 for Plan to Save Humanity. Probably would just try to liberate everything. Probably try to control parts of the bureaucracy and stuff like that. But at the same time, it'd be a lot. I don't think that he'd be able to navigate all of it. Maybe he will. So now ruthlessness. I would give that a big fat 5. But at the same time, he like ran from Lorgar, but it's only because he thought he was gonna die. Like Curze showed up, it was a 2-on-1. Thinking back on it, he figured maybe he should have fought them, but at the same time, and then he also ran from Angron. So again, he didn't want to die, but like it happened. It happened. He split. You got to take a point off for ruthlessness. I would almost take off another, but I think 4 is fair. I think 4 is fair. I think maybe a 3. I think in his own mind he's pretty ruthless, but not fighting to the death is not a ruthless trait. I hate to say. It's smart, so maybe we go up strategy 1 more, but nah, screw it. We're going to keep him at these points. So he'd be a decent ruler. He's kind of on the crux of being a mid-peror. I'm glad he is not on the same level as Fulgrim. So I do think in my mind he's a better, even without the point system, I think he's a better ruler than Fulgrim. So now we have Angron. Angron with... So this is not going to be like fan fiction Angron, because we just don't really know what he'd be like. We have an idea, but we're just going to do Butcher's Nails Angron. So this is going to be real easy to do. You guys all know about Angry Ron. 1 in politics. He can't even think straight. He's going insane. He's dying. Fighting ability. Pretty good, but he's a berserker, and that can be taken advantage of. So we're going to give him a 4. He lost to Rust, even though he beat him, but he lost strategically. So yeah. Psychic potential? None. Strategy? None. Plan to save humanity? Kill the Emperor? That's a 2. Probably a 1, because Astronomicon, all that shit. He knows not what he do. Ruthlessness? Ruthlessness is the only thing he's got going for him. He's only getting worse over time, so we give him that big fat 5 for ruthlessness. Just because he spared a handful of people don't mean he's any less ruthless than any of his brothers. Can I start giving out zeros? Hold on. No. This isn't right. I'm gonna have to start giving out zeros. We're changing the metric. It's not 1 2. You can get a 0, and I'm not changing any of my other scores. I think that those 1s are still fine that I gave to the other Primarchs. Yes. Bad ruler. Yeah, you got to be able to get zeros because, like, to even give Angron the benefit of the doubt as the mid-emperor, he wouldn't even be a mid-emperor. He'd just be a bad emperor. In fact, we're going to combine these 2 tiers right here. Bad ruler, reign of chaos. Because if you're a bad emperor, like, what's going to happen? Chaos is going to win, right? In fact, because I'm gonna put his psychic potential in 0 too. Yeah, I'm gonna put his psychic, so that actually takes him down to 10 points. So yeah, Fulgrim's in chaos win. Sorry that I'm being flippy floppy on this now, but sometimes you need to perfect the system while you're doing it at the same time. It's the best way. You just need to be able to adapt, man. So this is Ferris. This is Ferris the Manus, the Gorgon. He lost his head in more than one way, and I'm afraid to do these stats because there's so many jokes I can make, man. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just go ahead and do the points. So politics is 0. He's not very personable. He's very good general, but in terms of like getting along with people, I don't think he's got anything there though. Maybe a little bit better than Angron. Maybe he'll make you a weapon. So I'll give him a 1, just because he'll make you some stuff, and he'll give you a gift. He had, remember that part when Lorgar showed up and he like insulted Lorgar, and then he's like, here, take this weapon. Like, so we'll give him a 1 just for that. So fighting ability, lost his head to Fulgrim. Can't give him a lot of points for that. I'll just say average, because like he's one of the biggest Primarchs, and I think it'd be a disservice to say that he just sucks because he lost to Fulgrim. He admits it himself. He charged in without thinking, and then the demon sword, you know. But yeah, that's still not a good excuse. We're gonna give him a 2, below average. Psychic potential, nothing that we saw. We saw him as a Spectre, but that doesn't give you psychic potential as far as I know. Strategy. Oh, he's good on the battlefield. Oh yeah, we give you a 4 because you're at Isban, but that's kind of not your fault. But like, also your thing against Fulgrim charging in, man, I don't know. These stats ain't looking great right now, man. But on paper, his strategy is great, but just based off what we saw on Isban, it's just like he's too emotional. And then we know that like there's gonna be demon Primarchs involved with 40k, so like they're going to be around and they're going to be a threat that you have to deal with. So if every time a demon Primarch pops off, you lose your shit, you get low score for strategy. And the same thing happened to Guilliman, but he's getting better. So yeah, strategy. You know, I'm gonna give him a 3 just on paper, just because it feels wrong to give him a 2 because of Isban, and I'm gonna give Guilliman high marks too. So hey, he did the same shit. So you know, literally almost died. No, basically died. What? So yeah, and Guilliman did the same shit. We give him a 3 on paper. Yeah. Plan to save humanity. He ain't got none, bro. Kill all the traitors. Kill all everybody. It's the best he could think of. I'll give him a point for that. Ruthlessness. Oh yeah, baby. That's a 5. I think that, so it's so easy to score a 5 in ruthlessness as a Primarch. It's craziness. Oh, so he's a mid-peror. Yeah, mid-peror. That's fair. Not great on the strategy. Pretty powerful on the battlefield. That counts for something. So now we have my boy Roboute Guilliman, Rob G, Roboute. Everybody knows about Guilliman, man. His politics is A1. How he's been able to like keep it together in the current setting, and because he's in the current setting and he's had a trilogy, codexes, and a bunch of appearances in other people's books, we actually have way more information on how Guilliman would do in this setting. His politics is really good. I don't know how he's managed to hold everybody together, but they needed him. Guilliman's fighting ability is average. As far as the Primarchs go, he really doesn't have much wins against his brothers. But like on paper, he's not too bad. He's got the Emperor's Sword, and like the longer Guilliman fights you, the less chance you have. It's just that he's not going to do great against like Demon Primarch, stuff like that. Of course, he's power scaled. He's outscaled. I don't even think he beats a lot of his brothers normally, like a lot of the loyalists without powers. So we're actually going to put him below average on fighting. He's a Primarch, but the other Primarchs are better fighters, a lot of them. Psychic potential, nothing that we've seen. Have we seen anything psychic from Guilliman at all, just besides him getting a warm, tingly feeling when he gets teleported? Strategy, really good. Indomitus Crusade, Belisarius Call, got his throat slit by Fulgrim. Bad move. Also, fought Mortarion in the one-on-one. Another bad move. I slick have to put him on Ferris's level, but at the same time, though, Guilliman's ability to push that pin, giving him anything less than a 4 seems wrong. Plan to save humanity? He ain't got none. He's just doing the best he can, which is better than kill all the everything. So I'll give it a 2. That's a below average plan, but it's better than some of the plans that way would have had. Guilliman's ruthlessness, average. Damn, Lion did better. Should I give him another point? Even if I give him more points, I don't think he's getting much further past a decent ruler. And come on, be real. In the current setting, like, they're not about to be a noble, bright future just because Guilliman's around. They're still dying. And I don't know if people would consider him the legit successor. I think a lot of people might, actually, because I just read Era of Ruin, and a lot of people were looking at Guilliman for that role or thinking he was going to step up. So he's slick. Kind of should be up here, but he ain't beat the point system. He ain't beat the allegations. I'm going to keep him in here because I think it's only decent as well, too. Would Lion do better? I don't think so. Maybe a little bit more than a decent ruler. I'm sorry. Yeah. I downplayed my boy. I just have to do it. I'm sorry. Fuck the points. Oops. So what was I talking about? Okay, so Russ. So his politics are probably better than you expect. He looks like a savage, but on the inside, he's actually an intellectual. And he made some bad decisions. Couldn't get along with a very important brother, and Chaos was more powerful afterwards because of that. And it might have been a miscommunication, and he still doesn't feel bad about ending Magnus, even though he feels bad about burning Prospero. So, like, his politics is, like, not good, bro. I'm sorry. That's going to be even below average. That's going to be a 1 for me. Because he's an intellectual does not mean that he's got good politics. I don't even think that he likes politics. He'd prefer to be a weapon. Fighting ability, one of the best. Stabbed and wounded Horus. Didn't finish the job. That's going to decrease his ruthlessness. Psychic potential? He ain't really got it. He does have that spear that lets him see the future for the Emperor, so I guess I could give him a 1. It'd be crazy if he came back as a rune priest. That's what I want. I want him to come back as a psyker. Strategy? Pretty good. Pretty reckless. He did that spear point thing, and it almost worked on Horus. So I don't know. I'm about to give this boy a 4. And he taught Angron a good lesson about strategy. You know, managed to survive Prospero, but he got played by Horus. But this is just battlefield. This isn't politics. So if we're talking about just battlefield, like, he's pretty good. I'm gonna give him a 4. So I'm not gonna put him in the top tier of the strategists or whatever. But wow, he's better than you expect. Plan to save humanity? Ain't got none. Go find the Emperor. Bring the Emperor back. That's the best he could think of. Probably not the best plan. Below average? Yeah. You're probably not going to find anything. Yeah, I'll give that a 1. And his ruthlessness, a 4. Because he could have finished Horus. He didn't. That's bad. But because of what he did to Magnus and the Thousand Sons and Prospero, that's still quite ruthless. So that's where he's at right now. A decent ruler. Almost a mid-perer. Almost on Ferris's level. Alright, so next up is Lorgar. Politics is really good. Very religious. Would have started the cult. The cult is a big part of 40k right now. I think he would have did very well politically in the setting, man. He was even like in Thousand Sons, he was even like playing referee between Russ and Magnus, and they were listening to this man. So even though if you consider him one of the weakest, which by the way, fighting ability is a 2. Now, I know he's counted as amongst the weakest of the Primarchs, but if you, like, followed Horus Heresy, nobody considered him weak after the book. But that being said, I still don't think he's beating very many of his brothers. He's not beating a whole lot of stuff in general, so, like, he's definitely going to put him below average at 2. Psychic potential, very high. Not like Magnus, man. I don't know if he could sit on the throne or nothing, but he's, like, he's the second best psyker. So he can kind of get that 4. He can really get that 5, bro. Nah, son. Because Magnus is the best for sure, but after years and years of practice, don't downplay Lorgar right now. I'm not going to take away his 5 just because a brother is like overpowered. Strategy on the battlefield seems pretty good. It didn't seem like he took too many L's on the battlefield as far as Horus Heresy went. So, like, but I don't want to put him above Guilliman. That seems silly. But, like, he doesn't make those same dumbass mistakes that the rest of his brothers do when it comes to, like, chasing people down. It is what it is. He's better. Am I going to give him a 5 for strategy? No, I'm only going to give him a 4. Oh, and then there was his plan to take down Horus. So that's more, I would say that's more politics. So because that was a bad plan, maybe we should actually give him a 4 on politics. But strategy could stay 4. Plan to save humanity. By worshiping the Emperor, or worshiping chaos, or worshiping something. Probably not going to save humanity, but it's better than some of the stuff we've had. I'll say that's the average. I'm giving Lorgar a lot of points right now. You can tell I'm biased and I like Lorgar. Average plan. Is it bad? Maybe. It's hard to say. Ruthlessness, after what he did to Angron, it's a 5, baby. One of the most ruthless Primarchs. Oh, he's a legit successor. Imperium would have been okay. He wrote the book. He wrote the book. Who knows? Does he still fall to chaos if he's the Emperor? Maybe. Oh, fuck it. I'm going to go with the point system on this one. So now we're going with one of my most loved and most hated Primarchs. Magnus. I did nothing wrong. The Red. Politics. Not amazing. He's very pompous and thinks that he just knows everything, and it rubs people the wrong way. Though I think that he can navigate politically on some level, I think that he's not 100% unself-aware. I think that his politics are just average. Fighting ability, on paper, a 5. He lost to Russ, and he lost to Vulkan, though that might have been with the Emperor. That was with the Emperor's help, though. You know, the Emperor was like powering up his regenerative abilities, we think, or maybe it was some webway shenanigans or something. We don't really know, but like on paper, he could just disintegrate you. So like you can't downplay that. Psychic potential is 5. He's Magus the Red. He's incorporeal. Like he's made of warp stuff, bro. He's that guy. Strategy, he'd be having pretty good strategies on the battlefield. His plan to get inside the Imperial Palace like was executed almost flawlessly if it weren't for like everything else that happened afterwards. So we're gonna give him a 4, almost a 5, bro. He's getting high scores. Plan to save humanity by making everybody psychic. Probably one of the better plans. He wanted a galaxy where everybody was like psychic adept, and you know he wanted to rush to kind of humanity's great awakening kind of. And though he dabbled in chaos, so you got to take off maybe like 2 points for that shit. So his plan to save humanity, we're gonna say average. Maybe above average still. It's just taking off the point for chaos. I don't know. He probably, in my opinion, out of the plans we went over so far, he's the only one who's had something that's kind of legit like this. And also his ruthlessness, that's a 5. Killed one of his own boys to send a message to the Emperor. He'll do anything. Killed Malkador. Ruthless. Not evil, but ruthless. Noble Bride Imperium? With Magus on the throne? The Imperium prospers? He's better than the Emperor? Nah, son. What you think? Don't unsubscribe. But hear me out, though. He knows better. That's what the Emperor said, too. Same as the Emperor. Maybe Noble Bright Future's a little bit far, too. Maybe we should say same as the Emperor. Probably the same thing would have happened. What if Magnus becomes the Dark King of Chaos? Like, if you watch, I have another video called Who Are the Emperor's Truest Sons, and Magnus is on there for lots of reasons. So it's very appropriate for him to be in a category comparing him to the Emperor. Check out the video. It's flames. So now we got Stinky Boy. Stinky Boy's got bad politics. It's not very personable. He sucks and he smells bad. His fighting ability is really good. He's very endurant. He got banished by the Khan after he was a demon, but they went toe to toe as humans. I don't really think there's a whole lot of people messing with him. We don't really have, he doesn't really have fights against the top tiers of the Primarchs, but like if he went against Lion, like I don't know, I think he'd do pretty good. We're gonna leave his shit at 5 because he's that. Mortarion can fight. Psychic potential is, I'll say 1. It's probably just, he probably just repressed his own powers just from hating his stepdaddy so much. So we say 0 because of that. But we know that with all the Primarchs, it's really not 0. But he's like, let's just say he hates psychic still. Strategy, pretty good on the battlefild. Nothing fancy. They just press forward slowly. It's their strategy, is their strength. That's what they play into. They can't do anything different. So average. Plan to save humanity. Destroy all the psychers. Bad plan. Yeah. One of the worst plans. Though defeating demons is pretty tight. So I'll give it a 1. It's not that bad of a plan, but it is. His ruthlessness is 5. No debate about it. He's definitely one of the most ruthless Primarchs. A mid-perer. I really thought he was going to get Chaos Winds. But because of his hatred of psychics and psychic phenomena, he actually probably would have did pretty good at staving off Chaos. But everything else that the job involved makes him mid. Down here a Ferris. So that's fair. My boy Purdy, the petulant man-child. Perturabo's politics are terrible. He's a petulant man-child, and I couldn't see him getting along with anybody. He sucks. And he cries and he bitches and moans. He's one of my favorite Primarchs, don't get me wrong, but he's not getting along with anybody. Fighting ability is high. He's got some feats. He doesn't do glorious hand-to-hand. Well, yes, he does. He's got a big hammer. He hasn't really got any L's. When it comes to combat, he doesn't really have any L's. He hasn't really been up against the top tier, so I'm gonna give him a 4. I cannot see him beating like Lion or like Sangi or something like that, but we give this boy a 4. He could take down Demon Angron, which is something a lot of them can do. Psychic potential. I don't see it. I don't think it's there. He's similar to Dorn. He's a master of the physical universe, so his psychic potential is not there in my mind. Oh, actually, he can. Hold on. So his psychic ability is to see the weaknesses in things, right? Like he can constantly see the Eye of Terror. So to be honest with you, strategy, really good. Dorn's rival, loses to Dorn a lot, but I think it's fair to say that he's one of the best strategists by like a long shot. Plan to save humanity, ain't got none. Ain't got none. He's just doing his job, and he just wants recognition. He's not even worried about humanity. What he wants is to be recognized. Then there's ruthlessness. Big fat 5. I wish I could get more points. He's definitely one of the most ruthless Primarchs. He doesn't give a shit about your life, and he will nuke you, and the Iron Warriors will nuke each other just to kill you. Look it up. I think 17, decent ruler. What? Okay. No, but you could, if you think about it though, Perturabo's a guy who gets shit done. But like, I really thought that the politics would have dragged him down to mid-perer because he's really just going to be that petulant emperor. Is my way or the highway? Well, I guess when you're emperor, you can do that more. But like the 0 in politics and the plan to save humanity is like why he's only decent and not considered one of the legit successors. So now we have actually his rival. It's crazy to go Rogal Dorn right after that. Rogal Dorn's politics are there. He can operate politically, as we've seen in the Siege of Terra. He's not oblivious. He's unbreaking and stubborn, but his politics are there. And I think that he's pretty decent at them. The remembrancers and stuff like that, I think his politics is okay. I think it's okay. Above average, yeah. Crazy to think, but it's true. Fighting ability, very high. One of the best fighters amongst the Primarchs. Crazy feats. Got to kill on Alpharius. Got to win on Fulgrim. I don't really think there's a whole lot out there touching him. I think he could duel some of the top tiers too. That being said, I know he got stabbed by Curze. That was a surprise attack. But yeah, he's one of the best. Psychic potential, not there. Didn't tell him about the warp. Didn't need to know. Master of the physical reality, same as Purdy. Can't even see the Eye of Terror. Strategy is really high. Doesn't have much losses. Did everything he could. Better strategist on the battlefield than Guilliman, in my opinion. And he doesn't have any stupid rush in and stab my brother to death because I'm mad. So yeah, better. Plan to save humanity. by building the biggest wall in all of well, technically that's what, like, if he could like build a wall around the Great Rift or some shit like that, he'd do it. And I know that's impractical, but at least it's something. He'd be thinking of something, bro. I'd give him a 2. I know that's giving him the benefit of the doubt, but obviously I love Dorn. You can tell from these scores that I'm biased, and nobody said that this was an unbiased list. Nobody said that. You thought you were looking for unbiasedness? I'm a human being. Ruthlessness is a 5. Very ruthless. Murdered Alpharius in cold blood. Doesn't like him. Didn't act like it. Ooh, legit successor. I definitely think that's a good one for the point system, because I feel the same way in my mind. He's definitely one of the legit successors. He was the Praetorian of Terra. I don't think there's anyone who's better to defend Terra than him. Never will be. He's amazing. So now we got the Great Angel, Sanguinius. My boy, my second favorite Primarch. Politics are very high. Everybody loves Sangi. Fighting ability is very good. Nobody can beat Sangi. Psychic potential is very high. He can see the future. Can he control the Astronomicon? I don't think so. But we're only going to take a point off for being able to see the future pretty accurately. Very good. Now, I know there's like a lot of like plot holes of him, like having the dire, not needing the dire. We're just going to pretend like none of that happened. Strategy is really high. Maybe on paper, not as good as the best strategist, but he's ridiculous. Plan to save humanity? I ain't think he got one. He probably would try to like resurrect the Emperor or something. This is actually his only low score, because I don't think he has anything. He told them leave Ball alone and stuff. He's just out there doing the best he can, which is similar to what I said for Guilliman. So what did I give Guilliman? 2 points for doing the best he can. I'll do the same thing for Sangi. And then ruthlessness is a 5. He's not as nice as you think he is. And if you are on the opposite end of the battlefield, prepare to be shat on from such a high distance that what did Samuel L. Jackson say in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
We own you. You're ours. We can shit on you from such a height, you'll think God himself has crapped on you.
Because like I said, like, he's not sitting on the golden throne or nothing like that, but being able to see the future is like very powerful. And there was even times where he could see into the minds of his brother, so he could probably do some nutty stuff as the Emperor. Maybe not be able to control the Astronomicon completely, but I don't know, I'm giving that extra point. Same as Big E. Like having the Emperor back. Sanguinius would be such a good Emperor, bro. And in fact, he was crowned Emperor before, and if he was around during the Great Scouring, that little conflict that Guilliman and Dorn were having would not be had, because Sangi would have unanimously been declared the Emperor by everyone. Custodies everywhere. I don't give a fuck what you think. He's same as Big E. Fuck that point system. So now we're down to my favorite Primarch, the madman himself, the Night Hunter, Mr. Don't Call Me Curze. His politics is terrible. Okay, so he's so brutal that when you hear his name and the name of the Light Lords, that slick, everyone's gonna stop fighting. So I'm not gonna give him a 0 for strategy. It's one of the most abhorrent strategies you could think of. Just being like straight, like Vlad the Impaler on a galactic scale. But it's proven to work. So I'm slick gonna give this man a 3. Yeah, Nostromo under control. The only thing, him leaving, is what doomed the planet, because they went back to their hijinks again. Had he not left and he stayed there and ruled the planet, probably would have stayed peaceful for as long as he was alive. So yeah, we're gonna give him a 3 on politics. That's an average. That's also, once again, we're gonna come back to my bias, because I am. Fighting ability, one of the best fighters amongst the Primarchs, can see the future, has humbled a few loyalists, even had even had Guilliman and Lion on their heels, almost killed them if it weren't for some plot armor. Psychic potential just as high as Sangi's. I gave Sangi a 5, so I'm gonna give Curze a 5. Even though it's like a bunch of negative stuff, you can still use that. Strategy, we're not gonna say that he's got no strategy, because we've seen him do some crazy stuff even in his mania. But I don't, and then we got to talk about what level of insanity Curze is at the time, because like from beginning of Horus Heresy to end of the other Imperium arc in Horus Heresy, his sanity slides low on a line chart. So, like, if we're talking about early on, he probably had better strategy, but I'm just going to keep it at below average because he was always kind of insane, and I think that affects him. Same thing Corvus said. Plan to save humanity. Ain't got none. He'd probably kill them all if he could, if he didn't think they were acting right. Ruthlessness? Come on now. Are we kidding? A decent ruler? Exactly. Because first off, he's not really even susceptible to chaos like that. Like, Curze and the Night Lords hate chaos, so he ain't got to worry about chaos wins, to be honest with you. And then, like, he's so brutal that he would basically just be like everyone would be afraid to breathe. So there'd be some kind of peace, to be honest with you. Don't unsubscribe. Hear me out, man. Think about everything I just said. You know it's right, man. There'd have been less casualties. Hear me out, bro. I know I'm not insane. You're crazy, not me. Vulkan. I want to put Vulkan very high up there because he's so nice, you know. His politics, though, probably pretty good. During the War of the Beast, he said he'd kill all the High Lords of Terra. Maybe that was required. He's got humanity in mind first before the Space Marines. That might lead to some conflict, but like, it's better than what they'll get modern day. There are still his nephews, so he would still have like some thing going on, though he did not want to break up the legions. I think his politics is probably one of the best. I think Vulkan would probably do the best. I don't think he would have did as good as Guilliman, though, so let's take that. So they both care about humanity a lot. No, I'm gonna leave it. Fighting ability is very high. Biggest Primarch, hardiest, most endurant, strongest. Got a teleporter in his hammer. I don't think you're fucking with him on a battlefield. Psychic potential. He's a perpetual. He could probably sit on the... I don't think he could sit on it. But my goodness, like... No, yeah. Psychic potential is very high. He's an actual perpetual. What am I thinking? Strategy. Average. His motto is, you know... onto the battle, onto the anvil of battle, into the fires of war. I'm gonna give him a 3 for strategy because that's pretty tight. Toasted an Eldar child so that Curze couldn't torture her. That was pretty smart. I say average. Plan to save humanity. He would probably sacrifice he wouldn't sacrifice his sons for anything, I think, but he would sacrifice himself for humanity if he had to on that Emperor shit. But that being said, he doesn't have the plan. He's just out here doing the best he can. If you're doing the best you can with no plan, I would still at least give you below average. And his ruthlessness, he's probably more brutal than you think he is. He said he'd kill all the High Lords of Terra, but he'll do anything for humanity. So I'm gonna put his ruthlessness at a 3, like where Guilliman's is at. Don't cross him, but at the same time, nah, he's not as ruthless as his brothers on a scale of like easy. All these guys are way more ruthless. A legit successor? Yup. Vulkan could do the job. He kind of was de facto emperor when the emperor was indisposed fighting Horus and stuff. He was in the throne room. They deferred to him. So Jaghatai Khan. His politics, I don't think he's got none. He's kind of a loner, and he was kind of just out there doing his thing. And I know that he can operate politically, but like we've had some instances in Siege of Terror where he's dismissed some people and been like not super tolerant. So I don't think those politics is great. I think he's probably got some of the worst politics. I'll probably just say 1. He's a loner. Probably not 0. He's got some self-awareness, but like, I don't have any faith. Fighting abilities 5. One of the premier fighters in the Primarchs defeated though it almost cost him his life, and if it wasn't for plot armor, it would have. But he took down one of the demon Primarchs, so yeah, by himself. Psychic potential is not there. Does anybody know if he's got any psychic powers? I've never seen any. I just think that he's really efficient and brutal. Strategy's good. They're basically the nomadic horse archers, the motorcycles, and the speed. It's a good strategy. Very versatile. The white scars. Plan to save humanity? You ain't got none. Try to wake up the Emperor. Go into the warp. Bad plan. You ain't got none. Ruthlessness? Best believe it. He even needed extra time to decide what side he was going to be on in the Horus Heresy. So is he ruthless? Yeah. Big time. A decent ruler. Somehow, but he's almost a mid-per. He's real close. I put him underneath Purdy. Him and Purdy are about even. They're both like loners. Not necessarily. Yeah, by nature. So like, they don't really, I don't think that they, I think that they do bad in the same ways and they do good in a lot of the same ways. And finally, we've got Horus the Lupercal. So like, let's say he never like fell to chaos, right? Or somebody else switched places with him and he was there, like post Great Scouring. So let's just talk about him on paper. All right, so his politics is amazing. Was able to orchestrate everything, and I think his politics being top tier is one of the reasons he was able to orchestrate the get to War Master and orchestrate Horus Heresy. Well, mostly that was Erebus, but you know what I mean. Fighting ability is really high. All the Primarchs consider him one of the best fighters. So does Leman Russ, Sanguinius, and stuff like that. We haven't seen the feats on paper, but we're just going to give the benefit of the doubt because the brothers would not lie. Psychic potential is not there. We've never seen Horus do anything psychic without chaos help. Strategy is really high. Orchestrated all this nonsense, bro. Even as like all his feats, like, because he's the de facto villain of like the Horus Heresy setting, his strategy is going to be very chess game the entire way through. Better than everybody's. It is what it is. He's the best strategist, and that's why he was War Master. Plan to save humanity. Would he have one? He would not. Similar to Vulkan and Guilliman, he would just be trying the best he could. Ruthlessness? Oh yeah. Don't you doubt it. Even for a second. Though, he didn't want to kill the Interrex. He didn't. So I'll take down 1 point. We've seen that he can show mercy. In a place where like someone like the Lion would have just bombed them. Legit successor to Big E. The first found. Should have been the legit successor. Should have been Emperor. Chaos shenanigans, Erebus. We all know what happened in Horus Heresy and 40k. It is what it is. It is what it is. You can't go back. You can't take it back. This has been my tier list on which Primarchs would make the best Emperor. We got Magnus and Sanguinius the top because of their overall badassness, and ability to get shit done, and their psychic potential at politics and stuff like that. All that made them in the same category as Big E. It would be as good as having the Emperor around. Maybe not. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it is what it is. The legit successors are some of the Primarchs that would have operated better in command positions in the 40k Imperium and would have been able to navigate the place. Though Lion is a bit of an outlier because he's so good at everything else, he kind of still made it in there. The decent rulers are the people that can manage and will have strategies and stuff like that to keep the people together, but they are not amazing rulers. And the mid-perers are kind of like, just kind of like lame. I don't think they'd be very good at their jobs. And at the very bottom, we have Chaos wins. The two Primarchs, Fulgrim and Angron, who shouldn't even be anywhere near a throne. So that was the video. I hope you appreciate it. I hope that you like it, is what I meant to say. I appreciate you if you've made it this far and have been listening. And tell me what you think, man. Like, what Primarch would make the best Emperor? Tell me how wrong I am in the comments. It's fine. You can flame me. I think it's funny. And I think that the list is pretty legit. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I'd change anything. This is Ave Dominus Noob saying Ave Dominus Nox.